and we're not going to talk about it any more than we need to. We're just gonna get on about it as Suning finally do get been onto that Camille and instantaneously first pick him LNG. Let's see what the response is. They did ban out the Lee Sin, which of course SOFM has shown a all absolute clinic on that champion in the last game. Perhaps living in Icon's dreams, up in Icon's nightmares up until this game, managing to assassinate him when he stood right next to Tarzan. And LNG, interestingly enough, are opting to put Ale on the Jax. What Bin has been picking so many times, the Gwen, it seems, is not what is working out for them in this situation, or more like they thought it through and they decided, Ale, we're going to put you on the Jax, we're going to leave up the Camille, and things so far seemingly going the way of LNG. But Suning, let's see if they can pull out something from the stops as well. Looks like Syndra is going to be the pick. LNG are probably going to have to prepare for this as well. All the AD carries are still up as well as the supports. So really, Suning, a little bit spoiled for choice here. Chances are we will see a jungler right now because, of course, the trio of the top lane area is where Suning tend to want to have most of their action unfolding. Syndra, Olaf, exceptionally strong mid jungle 2v2, and LNG can go for the enchanter supports here. Nice little change up. Not picking AD carries for either team means that they can go for the Lulu, they can go for the Karma to pair up with Tarzan, which Suning have so effectively denied from them in the past two games with the second rounds of bans. So I really like this coming out from LNG. Already some massive changes going through in the drafts, leaving Suning what they want in the top lane and then taking what they want in the mid lane. And right now, let's see what Suning opt to ban as soon as this Lulu pick does go underway. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with the picks and bans because it says Suning is looking for another ban. But anyways, regardless of that. So, LNG still have the bot lane, so do Suning, which leaves, of course, the Varus is still up and available, as is the Aphelios, the Aphelios Thresh combo, Braum, the Jinx. There's so many things that could go in either way. And even if LNG do end up banning out a huge number of AD carries, there's always Huanfeng's Ezreal as well as the Jhin, and really he does have quite a deep champion pool. Meanwhile, Light, he can play the Vayne, even though he's really seemed to only want to play that champion into the Ziggs. But regardless, with the Lulu in the mid lane and most likely an engaged support on the side of LNG, really there's a high probability of it happening. But if we just look at the team compositions, it looks like there is going to be a bit of a stall. If we look at the team compositions thus far, what is LNG going to want to do? With so many choices still left available, it looks like they will be forced to go back into an older version of picks and bans as the Thresh ban comes up from LNG, trying to deny the late game scaling potential, and the Ezreal is taken out as well. This still leaves Huanfeng with the Jinx if he so chooses. The Varus is still available as well. That's why I fully expect Suning to ban out here, because the Varus could be quite annoying into their team composition. Not too much hard engage, and Bin isn't really going to want to fly in there by his lonesome, especially into a Lulu. So I really would like to see, I think LNG, if they can somehow manage to swipe away a Varus and a Braum after picks and bans, they would be very happy with that. It looks like the Rel is what is going to be taken away, and now LNG wouldn't be surprised at all to see that Varus picked right off the bat right here. Varus is, of course, a phenomenal pick. There is the Kalista if they want to just go with that full dive composition, but I think Kalista is a little bit too... you don't really want a Kalista, I think, into a Olaf or a Syndra, so I don't think it's a good pick overall. It's kind of to be expected, the Varus pick here. Fully expect Huanfeng to respond with the Jhin pick, at which point we just need to wonder what is the other team going to do? What is Suning going to do with their support, and what's LNG going to do with theirs? So on the side of Suning, they are slightly lacking in terms of engage. Most likely we will see a Leona here. Another Leona and Nautilus are still available, as is the Alistar, the Karma. But most likely we will be seeing a Leona here, maybe even a Nautilus if that is what they fancy even more. Against the side of LNG, really a Nautilus might be better because Jax does have the counter-strike for the Shield of Daybreak. Of course, the Rakan is still available as well. That also counts as very good long-range engage. I honestly personally would have much preferred the Nautilus in this entire situation, because I guess the Nautilus and Leona still get knocked away by the Xin Zhao ultimate, and really a Braum pick here I think would seal the deal for LNG. They could go for the Leona, I guess, but I really liking the Braum pick, able to just apply the passive onto 3 members of Suning. Suning already are poised to fight into you, yet the Braum pick is just too fantastic here to not go for, because again, Suning is just going to fly into you and LNG just want to play it slow, shoot a few arrows in, and of course just poke down the members of Suning who don't have such great range outside of Huanfeng. And now we are locked in, ladies and gentlemen, to the ultimate game. This is the final game between Suning and LNG, determining who will make it to the next round, where TES awaits LNG. So far, will they be able to find themselves yet again after Suning showing so much perseverance, showing so much grit, able to claw back from being 2 games behind? What will this ultimate game reveal, as we are going to now look at the team compositions? Mid jungle 2v2 on both sides, exceptionally strong, but I think I must give the advantage ever so slightly to Suning. That being said, they can really play through either lanes. Top lane is a highly volatile matchup. This is Camille versus Jax. Whoever gets an advantage is most likely going to keep an advantage outside of jungle, mid lane, or support roams, which I think means both junglers bottom side start with a leash, perhaps, because everybody knows most likely where you're going to end up. They could opt for no leash in order to maybe conceal the fact, and of course either team can play through bot as well. We have a Braum, which is not such great setup, that being said, and on the other hand we have a Rakan, which also isn't such great setup. So really the game looks to be playing more towards the top side. But with a strong mid jungle 2v2 on either side, really they can go anywhere they please depending on who has priority. So this is, I guess, kind of going to look like a game of chess. It just depends on what each team does when they have the ability to do whatever they want to do. And it looks like Bin not opting for any funky runes, or not opting for any funky runes, is going to go Grasp of the Undying as the champions load into the Rift. Suning, will they be able to emulate their successes from games 3 and 4? Really just playing to the mid game, playing pretty well together, honestly. But game 4, I think, was just a lot of individual, exceptional effort coming out from the members of Suning. Especially as previously mentioned, SOFM on that Lee Sin. Now he's not really on a playmaking champion, now he's on a very one-dimensional champion, Olaf. Pretty much all he can do is run in. So I'm a bit worried now for Suning, because LNG on the other hand, honestly, in game 4 pulled together so exceptionally well. Ale playing so well. Tarzan looking for the insects on the Xin Zhao. And honestly, at this point, I shouldn't even be surprised, I suppose, as he just finds them. He somehow knocks Huanfeng into positions he just doesn't want to be in. And it's not just in game 4. Same happened in game 3. Same happened, I think, even in game 2. And Iwandi, of course, with the stellar engages. Icon now on a true supportive mid laner, literally on a support, literally on an enchanter. Some might say this is his best role, and LNG's biggest weakness is when he is not on the enchanter. So I really like what they did here with the picks and bans, with the draft. I should probably stop saying that. And interestingly enough, SOFM is starting up towards the top side. I suppose he's going to try and use the little bit of knock up CC that On has with the Grand Entrance. And meanwhile, Ale just stacking up his passive, which inevitably leads to the wave pushing. Ale probably feeling quite safe and secure in doing this, because of course his jungler is going to be making his way top. But Ale, he could technically be at risk of a level 2 gank, but getting a level 2 gank here just opens up the opponent's side, bot side of the jungle, as wave 2 will crash. Not really anything for Ale to buy, considering the amount of CS he's gotten. Almost perfect CS actually is at 11 instead of 12. Meanwhile, on the bot side, bot priority in favor of Suning, and in the mid lane, it actually is Icon with the Glitter Lances able to just shove Angel under his tower. Let's see what happens in the next 30 seconds as Scuttle Crabs will begin to spawn, both junglers being on opposite sides of the map, with actually priority in their preferred side lane. Actually is a good sign, as Bin takes a not very good trade. Ale trading very aggressively, and Bin looks to be in quite a bit of trouble. The bone plating is procced, and in the bot side, doesn't look like there's very much damage going down between either player, as Huanfeng just takes a little bit of a chunkage. In fact, bot priority is so heavily in Suning's favor that it's kind of impressive, honestly, considering the fact that I guess Rakan counts as a ranged champion. But either way, Ale now looks like he's going to set up a gank onto Bin. Teleport is available from Angel. Huanfeng is not, sorry, SOFM is not available as in comes the teleport. Ale is just going to jump in onto Bin, and Bin, using his flash, jumps right into Tarzan Icon, tanking up tower so perfectly as Tarzan lands his final auto attack, flashing away from the tower, and fantastic, it last minute auto! Never mind. And the fantastic juggling coming out from LNG means they will actually orchestrate the dive, pulling Angel's teleport, orchestrating the dive, and even forcing out Bin's teleport here. Is he not going to teleport? Bin is going to walk back to lane. He's actually losing so much CS for this. SOFM, they managed to recoup some of the losses by, I think, shoving a wave in under tower. But look at the CS right now. Ale is nearly double of, actually over double of Bin. Bin just lost a huge wave under tower, and that's really an experience that is more damaging than the gold. And already, look at how the game is unfolding. Top lane focus coming in from LNG. Not quite sure what Suning was doing. Unfortunate turn of events. But I suppose, how well do either team scale? So if I had to look at it, I honestly think Suning scales quite a bit better. Icon, fantastic use of tower aggroing right here, tanking 2 shots exactly how much he needs and barely escaping with 15 HP. Drops to 8 at one point. In comes the last auto attack, 1 HP. He survives with 1 HP. That champion just And here we go again. We've got Icon just being unkillable. And in those moments when Icon and Iwandi, they just naturally find it just Suning just find it naturally difficult to kill Icon and Iwandi. And it's a theme going through the entirety of this game. But the thing is that the more often that happens in a game, the more likely Suning do not win. The more likely Suning falter. The more likely LNG just find the advantages. As we saw just now, it could have been an even trade. But now already huge advantage going in favor of LNG. Even though the gold lead doesn't really reflect it. It's only 200 gold in favor of them. But right now, Bin is hurting. Not that he's a stranger to that, as we saw in so many of the games. He's just constantly hurting, honestly, truth be told. And Icon showing us even more of a reason why LNG should just keep the man on to the Enchanter supports mid lane. Forget playing carries, forget playing tanks, forget playing setup. Just back up our boy Tarzan and let him facilitate him to make plays across the board. Now an assist me ping is going down in the bot side. It looks like Light and Iwandi are signaling to Tarzan that their lane is open to a gank, or in the very least they want assistance pushing out this wave so that they can get a recall off, as they've been in lane for quite a while. Bot lane advantage is slightly in favor of Huanfeng, with the CS lead as Bin dancing out of the range of the counter strike, but the corrupting pot gives him enough movement speed. It looks like he's just going to chase Bin down. Is actually not quite level 6 yet, nearly there. 1 more minion and he has hit level 6. So immediately look at the experience difference between the two champions, and now another wave is being built. Tarzan is making his way up, and Icon with the mid lane push is going to be able to rotate up with him, and Bin very wisely actually backing off. But if he teleports here, look, he might just get Doven again, as Tarzan is making his way up. Both mid laners do not have teleport. They will not be able to participate. SOFM is making a gank through mid lane, trying to get priority so that they can come in and save Bin. But Ali actually triggers the counter strike under tower, forced to leap strike out. That soon will not be available, as now SOFM and Angel are rotating up a little bit to ensure that Bin is safe to farm those minions under tower. And if you look at the gold discrepancy between the two champions, 600 gold in favor of Ale. Look at the CS discrepancy, majorly in favor of Ale, who is now building towards his Blade of the Ruined King, the ultimate dueling item. And in a minute, LNG will be able to probably poke in and contest, if not take, Rift Herald altogether. They just have constant mid and top priority. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Huanfeng and On are doing a great job against Light and Iwandi. Slight CS lead acquired basically off of their own efforts. It has been a solid 2v2 the entirety of the game. Neither team interested at all in the happenings, comings and goings of the bot lane. And it looks like On is now rotating up in kind to try and get some vision down. Iwandi, on the other hand, is here to clear out that vision. A bit of a supportal battle going on, supportal combat going on up in the top side, as the AD carries, as usual, are just left to their own devices. Now, the interesting thing is, will Suning try and rotate Huanfeng up to Rift Herald to try and contest? He is right now one of their strongest members, and the real area where the gold lead is, meaning that if LNG, the only place where there is a gold difference, I suppose. Meanwhile, Oh my god, Huan Feng taking so much damage as Light just showing him this, you might. Interestingly enough, Light going for the Hail of Blades, but actually going for the on-hit build as opposed to the poke build. Interesting choice here. I'm not quite sure I agree with that. I think the poke build might have been better in that situation because, of course, you are quite a short range AD carry, and if you get in range for a Syndra, an Olaf, a Camille, or an Rakan, you could be in a huge problem. You could be in a really, really unfortunate situation as Angel able to get mid priority with the blue buff, but Icon able to harass as well as push at the same time as Scatter the Weak comes down. Tarzan is making his way into the bot side jungle of Suning, but he might run into Huanfeng in this situation. He might just solo him out. Meanwhile, both teams are trying to start up. Rift Herald, Suning is already onto it, but Bin is taking a terrible trade up towards the top side. Does have his ultimate available, but Ali is trying to crash this wave and rotate in. Meanwhile, towards mid lane, LNG taking a bit of a fight. It's a 3-on-3 going on right now. Both AD carries are now in range. Huanfeng, who does have the curtain call and can contribute first to the fight, but Ale with a flank going down. Bin actually will blast plant over, barely spotting him out. Ale has an avenue right onto Angel, stuns him out with the counter strike. In comes Icon flashing in with the wild growth. Down goes the unleashed power as LNG just piles on. Sorry, Suning just piles on to Ale, managing to save Angel from him. Meanwhile, SOFM doing his job, just keeping the rest of LNG busy. In comes curtain call, one shot on Tarzan, two shots on Tarzan. Iwani trying to move into position, being the bodyguard yet again. And meanwhile, trying to weave in the last shot, but goes into Tarzan with his ultimate on, gets exploded. But in comes the Scatter the Weak, beautifully stunning out both Icon as well as Light. Meanwhile, Iwandi and SOFM and Bin are locked in a 2v2, but Bin going in too deep. It's now 1v3. Icon trying to run in to get killed, but he's frontlining now in front of SOFM, and Huanfeng gets taken out. Tarzan jumping in, knowing there's no way for him to go. Huanfeng finishing off. One more undertow takes out Iwandi towards the end. An unbelievable series of events. Ale even finding the time to teleport back in after respawning. And who's to say? I mean, it's very clear, I suppose, who won that fight as Suning run away with a horde of kills. 10 minutes into the game, we have 6 kills going down. And we were watching Ale jump onto Angel. Let's see what SOFM did. SOFM holding that choke point. 1v3, and there's nothing the rest of the team could do. Icon using every mobility spell he had to get over the wall, throw down the wild growth. Meanwhile, SOFM just running away, and Tarzan, unfortunately, eating almost every single curtain call shot, except for that last one. It's unfortunate Huanfeng's last bullet went straight into Tarzan's ultimate, I suppose. But, I mean, he rang true, I suppose. And this fight went so many ways. Look at that beautiful Scatter the Weak stun. And meanwhile SOFM and Bin just holding the line so exceptional well. Huanfeng running in the last situation. Ale counter-strike up, actually going to be able to stun nothing as the Ragnarok and roll comes down. Ale will not have any hope of surviving this as he's burning. He survives! He survives! Oh my god, it's an actual immortality buff coming out from LNG. How did Ale survive that? Bin, you just should have just ran in and finished him off. There was no one else coming. I suppose Iwandi was coming, but that really wasn't too much of a cause for concern. SOFM could have easily tanked up one more shot. And right now, you must think that Suning, I mean, it's not such a great loss because you've managed to push Ale away. If Bin gets 2 tower plates, that means that pretty much equals a kill. But Dragon is going to go in favor of LNG. So SOFM really is probably the one who is hurt the most. But at least he's been able to get his teammate, get his top laner, get his star, one of the carries of the team, back into the game as Ale runs back into lane, not even at full HP, but he will have the Vamp Scepter to bring him back up to full SOFM, starting up with Terrell in full vision of the entirety of Sun LNG, and in they come. Icon teleporting now to the mid lane. We're going to see another explosive 5v5 unwind. I'm pretty sure in terms of items, Suning are slightly ahead in the bot side. Meanwhile, in the top side, Ale is the one much further ahead in terms of item. Doesn't really seem like it actually. He does have 2 components of his Triforce or his Divine Sunder as Ale jumping straight in onto Bin. The rest of LNG are coming up to assist their top laner. 5,000 HP is the Rift Herald on, stepping forward, parking the eye. It's at 2.9k HP. In comes the balls from Syndra as LNG's light is stuck up in the back. Not sure who smited away the Rift Herald as picked up now by... who has it? As Iwandi actually going into the stasis. Unleash power right onto him. In comes the Scatter the Weak. He gets stunned up as well as Tarzan. The final W goes wide as Iwandi is able to escape. Bin now is on top of him and looks like Iwandi will eventually fall. Wild Growth does go down onto the support, enough to keep him alive as the... Wait, what was that? As the... Oh, it looks like... Okay, wait. Yeah, okay, so Ultima going down onto Iwani, and it looks like he's gonna go down, but the Wild Growth is enough to sustain him. On is here with the Grand Entrance, unable to land as Iwani jumps into safety. SOFM now going for the flanks. He's a 1v5 situation, needs to be careful. The rest of his team isn't really close. On actually tanking up the tower so that him and Bin can pass through, but it looks like it's gonna be good enough of a disengage as the last piercing arrow misses the entirety of Suning. And right now, we've had two huge fights around the Rift Herald. Eventually, it goes the way of LNG, I suppose? Yes, it goes the way of LNG, and not too bad of a person has it either, as it is Ale who has it. The Jack's possible split push threat even more facilitated now with that Rift Herald. And overall, we're still at 0 apiece when it comes to finally taking towers, but the advantage is definitely in favor of LNG at this point in time. And now looking at the items bin, actually look how far ahead he's gotten with the tower plating, with the assists he has. He's actually managing to finish out his Divine Sundra ahead of Ale's Blade of the Ruined King. Which means in this 1v1 situation, I think he's going to be feeling mighty comfortable with himself as the Flourish comes through, does not manage to hit anything. Meanwhile, on the side of LNG, both Light and Tarzan, having completed their own mythic items, are going to feel quite comfortable. Ale is just going to soak up this goal from a distance. But at least Bin can console himself off of the fact that he will pick up most of this wave. And so again, Bin is just coming closer and closer into the game. In fact, Bin is kind of using the Rift Herald to ensure that he manages to pick up most of the CS as the continued siege of bot lane tower undergoes. Light and Iwandi are in position, but the rest of Suning seem to be rotating down towards the bot side. Teleports are not available for LNG solo laners. Meanwhile, Suning do have the teleport advantage. So it'll be interesting to see them try and make some plays towards either the bot side or the top side, and then respond to the cross map play if they see the need to or an opportunity to get an advantage with the teleports. They do need to hurry a little bit though if they were planning on doing that, because Ali does have his teleport nearly off of cooldown. The next objective to spawn on the map will be in 2 minutes, and that will be the Mountain Drake. And now if we could just get rid of these advertisements for just a second, we would finally be able to see how big the difference is in terms of items. So Ale actually so far ahead in terms of gold still. Look at him. He's nearly 1k, okay fine, it's nearly 1k ahead in gold. Meanwhile in the jungle, clear advantage in favor of Tarzan, but it's ever so slight. In spite of that, Tarzan still able to complete his God Drinker first because he didn't go for tier 2 boost. In fact, he didn't even spend a dime for his tier 1 boots. Meanwhile, Angel in the mid lane still working his way towards the more expensive mage mythic items, and Huanfeng still maintaining his CS lead in spite of a 1v2 situation down in this bot side. Look at the vision control across the map. Suning are playing exceptionally well. They have every entrance to, almost every entrance actually, to both sides of their jungles, control warded up, actually just stripping away LNG's vision completely. And LNG, if you look at their items, they only have 2 control wards now on their support. It looks like Ale is going to get ganked here. Icon does not have teleport, and Tarzan is not in his area. Teleport is coming down. They're using their teleport advantage as previously mentioned, as Ale finally procs his counter strike. But Ragnarok and Roll is on. Unleash power is on Ale with a ward jump. Will he actually survive this yet again? No, he won't, as Angel flashes in with the Scatter the Weak and finally secures the kill. Ale absorbing just so much pressure. Unfortunately, this means that his gold lead will most definitely expire as a result. But now in the bot side, Suning could be in trouble because they expunged 1 teleport. They still have Bin's teleport available as a 4-man is coming down towards this bottom side. It looks like they're just going to settle for the Scuttle Crab as Iwandi and On just trading blows right off the bat. On needs to be careful as Chains of Corruption could come in to chain him up. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Icon and Tarzan still just sitting around in the bot side waiting for something to happen, I suppose, as finally the first tower of the game will fall in the most unlikely of places in the top lane in favor of Bin, despite the game that he's been having. Meanwhile, in the bot side, yet again, Dragon is started up by Tarzan, and in a 4v4 straight up, I do believe LNG are stronger at this point in time, considering the fact that they do have the Lulu as well as the Xin Zhao and more mythic items in total, I do believe. Actually, no, I tell a lie. Equal amount of, as Light flashing in with a very nice Chains of Corruption, stepping away from the Scatter the Weak. Unbelievable play coming out from the AD carry of LNG. And like we previously mentioned, Light Iwandi, Tarzan, Ale playing so exceptionally well. An Icon, no flame to you, buddy. You're just not up to the par. As the Ragnarok is popped, one undertow clears out the entirety of the wave. Iwandi tanking up tower. They jump in with audacious charge, but in comes on with the quickness as well as the Grand Entrance trying to peel them away from SOFM. Of wind becomes lightning, flash comes in from Tarzan, but audacious strike will be enough to cover the distance. He doesn't have the Ragnarok and roll anymore, and he will be taken down. 2 kills on the side of LNG, very nicely forcing the occasion. Identifying that Suning were split, seeing an opportunity to get a bit of a lead, and now LNG actually have managed to minimize the gold lead. It is now a minimal, like 400 gold only, and things are looking fantastic for LNG going into this mid game where it is their strong suit before Angel and the rest of Suning get their second or third item. This is exactly the point. Oh my god. This is exactly the point in the game where, as an LNG fan, as LNG in general, you want to be fighting. You want to look for picks, and Light, look at this beautiful sidesteps coming in. And if he was, I'm just going to say it right now, if he was a penetration Varus, he would have one-shot him. But alas, that was not. And SOFM, unfortunate use of the Ragnarok here. I suppose he thought he was going in, but ultimately he decided, okay, maybe not. And then LNG realized, wait a second, this is free. And Ale, nice use of the teleport as well. And there's really nothing the rest of Suning can do. Bin just continuing to push in the waves. Top side, Huanfeng doing a good job pushing the waves. Bot side, and I suppose we just chill now as Rift Herald has spawned yet again. Now Angel looks like he's got some goons with him. Ali forced to ward hop away, but in comes Tarzan and Icon coming in hot and heavy. In fact, they've gotten the wrap around onto the 2 members of Suning, but the rest of Suning is coming in. Teleport is coming in from Bin as well as to be a 5v5 as SOFM might get stunned up here. In comes the Wild Growth, fantastic. It looks like Angel is going to be focused down here. Eventually gets brought down by Icon's little lads, and meanwhile SOFM takes solo. Ale in the front lines, not losing any HP at all with the Lulu behind him, and Ale just rallying around the rest of his team, just rallying around him and just allowing him to come back into the game. LNG playing so well as a team will even pick themselves up another Rift Herald. And in the mid lane, Light needs to be careful. He is playing kind of by himself. Iwandi's rushing to come back up his AD carry, who's trying to shove in this wave aggressively. The quickness as well as the Hextech Ultimatum are still available, however, so they do need to be careful. But again, just the double supports practically playing around their frontliners, playing around their AD carry. And at this point, what can you do against the combined might of LNG? You are no longer fighting one player. This is the Hydra working in unison, just playing together so exceptionally well. And at this point, LNG looking poised to take away the game. Though don't get me wrong, everything is still even. Suning have their opportunities. In fact, let's look at a straight up 5v5 in this situation. LNG are most likely going to be stronger. They've won the last 2 fights, and they have the Enchanter mid lane Lulu, who hasn't yet to fall off. Enchanter mid lanes fall off when you get more items. And right now, Icon is only at his 2nd, maybe 3rd item. So once it gets to that 4th, 5th, 6th item, that's when perhaps you'll start to see him fall off and taper off ever so slightly. And we'll see Angel surpass him in terms of just damage and overall perhaps usefulness to some certain extent. You know, because he provides long range stuns, he provides the wide stuns, especially after using the Unleash power. But, you know, until that point, really, this is the time for Icon to shine. And it's not that he's not playing badly at all. In fact, he's playing, I think he's playing exceptionally well. Because, you know, it takes a lot of skill to play an Enchanter mid laner. It's very not like playing a mage mid laner. It's a lot about playing for your team. And right now, Iwandi, nice sidestep, jumping right back to Icon ultimately. And right now, Bin is hovering down towards the bot side. I see LNG are slightly more grouped as Light is going to be able to reach his team before Huanfeng. Huanfeng not even moving from bot lane yet. Dragon is spawning in 50 seconds time. This is going to be soul point for LNG, which means pretty much a must contest on the side of Suning. Rift Herald is used in the mid lane, and the charge itself will not be enough to take down the tower, but it will be enough to chisel it down so that if a fight does break through and a win does come out from the side of LNG, as Tarzan just jumps straight in onto SOFM under the tower. The stun comes out, but fortunately he does not. Actually, he doesn't even have the tenacity. Not quite sure how he got out of that stun so quickly. And it looks like LNG are just going to brute force it, realizing that Huanfeng was in the bot side. In comes Tarzan yet again, fearless with knowing that he has the Lulu behind him and really taking no damage whatsoever, even has the Gore Drinker. And now the Ragnarok is down. Now is the perfect opportunity for LNG to look to force Dragon, spawning in 15 seconds time. This is most likely going to be a 26-minute Dragon Soul point battle that we are looking Suning is staring down the barrel of. as Bin just trying to get as strong as he can up until that point, as the rest of Suning is most likely going to be doing that as well. But Light and Iwandi are already rotating in position to try and pick up that wave that Bin is just delivering to their tier 2 tower, and Light will definitely be in position. Meanwhile, no one's in the bot side to defend Ale. He's going to pick himself yet another tower up, and LNG are snowballing so effectively in this mid game with this composition. And off of this, I'm pretty sure Ale is going to come really close, if not having completed his Divine Sunder. He's just jumping forward fearlessly. And meanwhile, in the bot side, actually in the top side, Iwandi actually just pinging SOFM like crazy. He wants the rest of his team to get into position to try and catch out the jungler without his Ragnarok available. But just as I say that, SOFM's Ragnarok does come off of cooldown. But now it looks like On is behind Ale. He's actually got a flank out onto him. In fact, no one else is here. I don't think Ale is particularly afraid of a support and top lane 2v2 situation, as some synchronized recalls are coming in now from LNG. It looks like they're going to start heading out to Baron, try and clear out whatever was possible, look for picks with the Chains of Corruption, with the, actually it's pretty much just the Chains of Corruption if we're going to be honest, with the audacious charge of Tarzan. That's why Tarzan feels so brave, because he can be. He's got Lulu behind him, but also because he must be, because no one else on the side of LNG can step up and can look to make openings the way he can. You do not want your Varus to be flashing forward in a 5v5 team fight to try and look for a pick. And now in comes LNG, grouped up as a ball. Suning, not so synchronized with their recalls, will not be here to contest the vision, as LNG just push 3-man strong into the jungle, try and get deep vision. Tarzan can play absolutely fearlessly. This blue buff is definitely going to go the way of LNG. Smite is available. They're just here to deny it from Angel, who's actually off in the bot side, so really there's nothing to be taken. And even Light is able to pick it up for himself, able to throw out a few more piercing arrows when a push comes to a shove. Even has his wits end available for Angel should he ever get, I guess, unleashed powered upon. Now Iwani's gonna face check into a lot of pain, as in comes just the basic abilities from Angel, and everything is building up to a showdown. But both teams are actually 3 minutes too early to this battle, as the real point of contestation is up towards the top side, where LNG just have such superior vision. Ali being jumped onto, very nice use of the control ward to just leap over the wall. And meanwhile, LNG looking for a pick onto SOFM yet again. This is the third time so far in the last 3 instances where SOFM has had to use his ult in a safe way. Tarzan now seeing an opening, jumping straight onto Bin. Ale over the wall, just looking to try and flash over. Actually manages to get him off, but On jumping in with the grand entrance as well as the quickness. But a quick engage coming in from Angel, force flash over the wall. Tarzan going in after him, as is Ale, and over the wall, just a bunch of shields being thrown over. Icon flashing over as well. Tarzan frontlining stairs is popped. In comes Ale to pick up the last kill onto On, and SOFM on the side can do nothing, as he doesn't have the Ragnarok and roll. LNG just unstoppable at this point in the game with this draft. Just Tarzan and Ale flying forward. Icon committing fully, being there when his team needs him to be, opting for the redemption instead of the Chem Tank Purifier. Just flying in there where he needs to be. And in spite of there being no objective on this side of the map, LNG just find a way out of no way. They force the issue and they run away now with a bunch of kills and a free tower. Ale more than back in this game. He is more than capable of a 1v1 between him and Bin, and that's really easily identified. It's just so easily reflected, in fact, off of the item differential between Ale and Bin, off of the CS differential between the two. And like we said previously, Tarzan just running in fearlessly, has the Shrelia's battle song and beautiful positioning, knocking On away initially. Both of them make a pretty good escape, but Angel knocked up by the Braum ultimate, by the Glacial Fissure, and again On pulling off a very nice grand entrance to just knock up the members of the opponent team. But Ale just will not be denied, and even has the safety from Icon to just allow him to literally get away with murder. Now LNG are a little bit split up now, trying to clear out all the resources on their side of the map, but they do need to be careful. Actually not really. I mean, Huanfeng is at his 3rd item, but he is going for lethality items, which are notorious for being cheaper. But look at the rest of his team. Look at the state of SOFM. He doesn't even have his 2nd item, as Tarzan is now building towards his GA. Look at Bin. He's working towards his 2nd item, as well as Ale makes a very, very quick headway towards his 3rd item. And at this point, LNG are going to get this Infernal. So at this point, is there anything they can do? As Chains of Corruption goes wide between SOFM and Huanfeng. SOFM finally has Ragnarok for a fight. Hopefully he doesn't use it prematurely to run away, as SOFM's tagged out by the wind becoming lightning. lightning. In comes Tarzan with Audacious Strike, just playing towards the wall, playing towards Icon. In comes the Ragnarok yet again, forced to back off with the ability instead of run forward. As in comes the Grand Entrance, Tarzan's front lining quickness is popped as well, but Tarzan is just completely tanking up everything. Light even stepping up in that last moment to tank up the fourth and final shot, but redemption is still available. The plants are still available. Ali's in the front line, absolutely flares, nearly gets a huge stun off, but the Scatter the Weak was there to deny him. SOFM at 1/3 HP. There's really no contesting this if you are Suning. You just have to chuck as many spells over the wall as you can, and LNG realizing this, pull it away. On jumping in over the wall, is forced immediately to jump right back across as it just resets yet again. Huanfeng, I guess he could potentially have flashed over to try and attempt for a steal, but LNG would have just taken Baron. In fact, LNG, what is stopping them aside from a few low health bars, I suppose, at this point in time, from starting up Baron? And with a snowballing comp, I'm pretty sure there is no dragon you want to see more as a soul than Infernal. Now you feel like you don't fall off quite as hard because you just deal more damage. And again, look at the items on Suning. They are so far behind. The gold lead might only be 3k in favor of LNG, but look how evenly that gold is distributed. Icon practically has none of the kills but has got so much KP. Ale building towards his third item, looking like a black cleaver, truth be told. Tarzan working towards his third item. Icon as well as Light, everyone's building towards their third item. Meanwhile, on the side of SOFM and Suning, everyone is now only having completed their second item or still building towards it. Things are absolutely catastrophic. Iwani being sped up now. On is being engaged upon by the Winter's Bite. Not that that's a particularly fearsome engaged tool, truth be told, as in comes the stun Iwandi nearly getting exploded yet again, and that's a remnant from the previous game as his rel absolutely getting cancelled off the face of the earth by just a strong enough Syndra. Right now with the Archangel staffs, actually Angel has kind of hit his power spike moment, and from here on out he's just going to get stronger and stronger, but Tarzan now looking for the opportunity for Audacious Charge, actually stealing away another blue buff. Meanwhile Ali is wailing away at the top tower. Tarzan jumping in onto On is not tanky at all. He's not even an engaged support, truth be told, and now he's gonna have to get away from this. He does have the battle song available. He's forced to use his grand entrance away. It's SOFM yet again using the Ragnarok and roll to run away from the fight. Huanfeng is now in the front. Things are looking kind of doomed. Iwani flashing in with the Winter's Bite. In comes the Chains of Corruption, tagging up SOFM as Ragnarok, and roll drops. Battle song has been popped as well, and LNG as a ball with the Infernal Soul absolutely unstoppable in this situation. Pinging for Baron. What can Suning do for this? They will fight it because we are in the LPL, and rolling over, keeling over, and dying is really not a good way to go. So they're going to sprint in there. They're going to try and make something happen. Now the question is, will they be able to? Dragons at 5,000 HP. They have no smite available. All they have really is a chance to throw spells in. Ale flashing over the wall, not getting leap strike off as counter strike gets pops. Iwani getting kind of low. Ale popping his stopwatch in the last moment, still tanks up most of the damage from the unleashed powers. Tarzan now is frontlining. He uses his stopwatch as well. Everyone's just going golden on the side of LNG. That just shows you how much gold they have, I suppose. As Tarzan tanks up the last shot from the curtain call. In comes the W. Gets tagged up, and Suning somehow pull off a miraculous defense of the Baron, finding some way out of no way. And even though that is fantastic, actually that's fantastic, straight up, let's acknowledge just how well Suning did with that. They managed to defend the Baron. They've managed to hold on to the game by their fingernails. But thing is, LNG can just reset and do that all over again. And so far, SOFM, the only two things that have been happening for him in every one of these fights is, one, he's been Ragnaroking out, and two, he's been dying, regardless of the Ragnarok. And in this situation, I suppose it's unfortunate that he gets tagged up by the chair that flies in. He gets tagged up by the Chains of Corruption in the tail end, literally the tippy tip of that Chains of Corruption. And now Suning spread out across the map, trying their best to force LNG to split up as much as they can. Been trying to shove this wave into the tower, maybe even trying to get in position to tap that bot lane tower, which is so low right now that he's pinging it. He desperately wants it, but the rest of Suning are absolutely fearful of trying to face check into this. And as a result of the on-hit build, on very nice sidestep away from the wind becoming lightning. As a result of the on-hit build, actually Light does tons of damage to this objective. So I suppose I can't say too many bad things. In fact, with a Jax as well as a Varus, the two characters we see over here, they can practically solo the Baron between themselves, and with Icon behind them, they will take no damage whatsoever. Iwandi now is the one playing goalkeeper. Icon stepping forward. Baron's at 3k HP, no flash is available. SOFM has the flash, actually uses Ragnarok and roll, jumps in, does not able to steal it, as a very nice might come in from Tarzan. SOFM will get escorted out in a body bag by looks of it, but Icon jumping, on jumping in to save him. Been taken out by the last shot coming from Light, as Angel now jumped onto by Ale. In comes the Audacious Charge, and he's taken out now. The rest of Suning find themselves on the wrong side of the the map, but LNG not even interested in the pursuit. Do have Baron buff as the 7-second recall feels like eternity for the remaining members of Suning. LNG just barreling down, Dragon Soul in pocket, Baron buff in hand, and looks like they will at least take one inhibitor here, maybe even two, as top wave is also pushing towards them. Bin did a good job shoving bot wave as far away as possible. Audacious charge in yet again. Iwandi using Tarzan as a trampoline, and it looks like they will just go for the jugular, they will go for the throat. They've had enough of this game. Tarzan knocked up by the grand entrance, but Icon is there to heal him up. In comes the curtain call. Ale is being tagged up by the shots. In fact, Light is actually being the one tagged up by the shots. Very nice use of the curtain call to force the members of LNG away. And there is no way for them to continue the pursuit. Battle Song is not available for On. He does not have the ability to close that distance, and he does need to be careful, because if he's caught up by any form of CC, whether it's the Whimsy, the knockup from the 3 Talent Strike, the stun from the Braum passive, or the Chains of Corruption, which are down right now, he will instantly get eviscerated and eradicated. As look at how low it gets, 392 HP before Tarzan eventually secures it with his own smite. And then SOFM nearly taken out. On saves him, but Bin's left alone in the front line, gets knocked up, gets taken out by the shots. And from this point on, we know how the rest of this unfolds. Now things are looking grim indeed for the side of Suning. There's still potential. They still have fantastic scaling with the Syndra, with the Camille, but truth be told, 7k gold down, Elder Drake spawning in 18 seconds, LNG are more likely than not going to take this game. They are super poised to take this game. Tarzan working towards his 5th item, including boots. Meanwhile, SOFM struggling still to complete his 3rd. Things are looking absolutely dire now for the side of Suning, and Ale just pushing in the bot wave, leaving his team with something to go to. At least LNG are not able to push waves because they need to do this dragon dance in order to get vision, but On tagged up by, oh my god, by an on-hit piercing arrow, and it nearly incinerates him as well. Tarzan being poked up, using the wind becoming lightning. Iwandi stepping forward to try and defend him, but Tarzan needs not worry too much, has some sustain, has an Ocean Drake to use, and SOFM again, Ragnarok is procced, running away with his tail tucked between his legs. It's an unfortunate sight we're seeing here as SOFM playing so incredibly well in game 4, ultimately put on to a too basic of a champion for a player of his caliber, and being left with no avenues to try and make the game his own. LNG now pushing Suning away from their own side of the jungle, absolutely stripping away whatever vision, whatever remnants, whatever little niblets of vision they had, and now Suning must check into it. Thankfully for them, LNG were not waiting around the corner. LNG more interested in securing themselves. This dragon is in, comes Tarzan jumping in. The Wild Growth is onto him. Look at it, On can barely reach the floor. Sorry, the Bin can barely reach the floor. On jumps in, forced to flash out. That's how desperately he needs to get out. Ale flashes forward. Unfortunately, he will not connect with the leap strike. And LNG just take a kill. And now they're gonna go back. They're gonna take Elder Drake, all 5 of them, over the wall. Never mind. Light actually isn't really needed, I suppose, because the damage output of Tarzan as well as Ale is just too much. SOFM does not have flash available. There's no way he manages to get over that corner in time. Undertow was used. In fact, it looks like LNG are quite worried about him actually peeling away for a while. And now with the Elder Drake, one snipe coming in from Light, piercing arrow yet again. This is a on-hit Varus, but with the Infernal Drake, piercing arrow does so much damage. And now it looks like they're not even gonna get a recall off. They just want to use their Elder Dragon to the fullest extent possible. Light has no mana, has no ultimate. In fact, all the members of LNG have no ultimates available. Meanwhile, on the side of Suning, they have every ultimate except for the quickness available. So there is a chance here. There is a very minute, a very slim chance. But this is the best chance Suning are going to get. In fact, this is the only chance they're going to get, as Bin, using his ultimatum a little bit too early, gets stunned up, gets taken out. Meanwhile, a jungle battle is going on, but Tarzan completely ignoring him in the last moment. The entirety of the Unleashed Power goes into the Sinja ultimate, but the rest of LNG are razor focused on bringing this game to a close, and with it, Suning's hopes for a return to Worlds go crumbling down with their Nexus. And it looks like LNG showing us the depths of their resolve, showing us that they will not go silently into the night. They will not let their apparent inexperience get the better of them and stop them from reaching ever new heights for this young organization, or at least this organization of young players. Thank you guys so much for following me through what has been an absolute roller coaster ride of a 5-game series between LNG and Suning. I will see you guys tomorrow for the next game. I'm incredibly excited. Who knows what it's gonna be. See ya!